So yesterday I did an interview with Charlotte Rampling.
Oh, I was only with her a while ago.
Oh, and what fascinated me about that was the idea that as she has acted over the years, she's gotten better
Mm.
and she started to own it, you know? When
Yeah,
she was younger, she was more insecure. It only makes sense.
yeah.
You've been doing this for a while now, since Atonement.
hmm
Are you owning it more? Or have you always been confident?
I think my confidence in what I do has kind of taken different forms over the years. So I really wanted to hold on to that sense of being kind of uninhibited as a child is when you're on a set. So much, it's not even that it goes over your head, but in the best possible way, you're unaware of so many things, or it's subconsciously you're aware, I guess, of things. And it is, you can only really rely on instinct when you're a child because you don't have any life experience and you don't really have anything to draw on. And I liked that. And so actually, the older I got, and as you said, insecurity inevitably kind of starts to play a role. You don't want that to distract you. If you work in that way, you don't want that to distract you and the way you work, or change it or destroy it or whatever. So I've tried to hold on to that as much as I can. I think there was always a part of me, um, even though I rely on my instinct a lot, I'm fascinated by the technical side of it when it comes to the camera as well, and all of that. And I like being able to hit beats and points and being given a sort of direction or a note and trying to land in that place. Um,
Did
so
you
that hasn't
enjoy
changed
Did you enjoy working in your native language on this
in my
film?
accent. Yeah, I mean, it's not even really my accent. That's the thing. I've got more of a Dublin accent. So it's more of a country accent that Ailish has in the film. But I said from the very start, not that I would have been able to anyway, because she's from a different place. She's from Enniscorthy, but I didn't want to use my own accent because I'd find that too strange, I think.
Because have you ever tell me when have you been able to use your own accent? Ever?
Never, apart from Grand Budapest Hotel. But I wasn't really playing an Irish person. I just had an Irish accent because it's Wes Anderson, so everyone came from everywhere, or everyone sounded different. But accents are really important for me. They're one of the most important things because I think your voice really defines you, and it really determines how you interact with people, how you present yourself, your confidence, and that changes from accent to accent. So I I guess because the very first thing that I did, the very first film I did, I had an American accent. So straight away, that was part of my prep, I suppose.
No, it's part of the character.
Yeah.
So this character is torn between two swains. That's the word I like to use. And it's really when you were playing the part, is that character lost? Is she doesn't know her own mind?
I think she does know her own mind, actually. I think the thing that I like about her is that she's finding her confidence. She's finding the, um, she's finding her place in the adult world, in the world that she's creating for herself, where she can't rely on her hometown or her mother or her sister. She completely is self-dependent. So in that way, she's lost. But I think when it comes to her sense of self, she never loses that, and that's kind of unwavering throughout the whole film. And I always really like that about her. That from one of the very first scenes, she's very clear in how she feels about, for example, the rugby boys. And is very clear about that when she comes back to Ireland a year later. That hasn't changed, and she's got principles and she's got morals and she's been brought up well. So I like that she's got this sort of backbone throughout the whole film.
How did you work with Nick Hornby and John Crowley in crafting this part?
I mean, it was crafted before I got there, really. Nick did an amazing job with the script. He wrote this beautiful piece of writing, and the screenplay was one of the best scripts I had ever read. And I think John feels the same. And he's incredibly specific when it comes to sort of the emotional beat for every scene. So you've got someone who's very, very clear about what they need. Even if that changes a little bit from take to take, he's incredibly clear about what he wants you to do. And if something doesn't work, he'll say it to you. So he really keeps you on your toes. And then, so I think the great writing with great direction paired with someone who emotionally was going through exactly the same thing as Ailish and was sort of in the same emotional state as the character meant that we could, you know, hopefully make it as authentic as possible.
Did you, you've lived in New York, you've lived in Ireland. Where else have you lived? Have you been an immigrant? Have you felt like the lonely outsider who had to figure out how to be part of a society?
Yeah, I think I did from the moment we left Ireland, or New York, sorry. You know, we moved back when I was about 3 or 4, and then the older I got, we moved to the country. My mum and dad were Dubs, so we were never locals, you know. And I grew up there, but I was always from somewhere else. And then even, I'm sure if I were to grow up in Dublin, I would have been seen as the girl who came over from America. And that's how I was seen in the country as well. And that was just kind of a part of my childhood, you know. I wasn't quite from one place or another ever. And then when I started to work away, that became kind of even more extreme again. And I think different places have always made up who I am. So I've always been drawn to different cities, and especially with work then as well, you have an appetite for travel, and you've been exposed to different cultures and people and relationships and things like that. And so when I was 19, I was very aware of the fact that if I didn't leave Ireland and have anonymity, and again, like Ailish, be completely self-dependent, my reality, whether it be in my mum and dad's house or on a film set, would be somebody doing stuff for me, basically. My laundry being done, or my food being cooked for me, or being told to go to set at a certain time, or being picked up at a certain time. And that is kind of the reality in that way. You're still working, you know, 15 hours a day, and in that way I was glad I grew up working. But I felt like your reality would kind of be warped if that was your only sense of the world. And so I decided myself that I needed to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I moved away to a city that really I didn't even realise I didn't know that well. And I had a good few friends, but I didn't have lots of friends. And I lived on my own, and culturally it's very, very different there. And I didn't expect it to be, but it is. More so than New York, I think.
Which city is this now?
London.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's a tough city.
It is a tough city.
With a lot of rules.
Yeah.
A lot of class rules, a lot
Yeah.
of who are you in the arts rules.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it was amazing. And it will always be the city that gave me my independence and I guess got me over that fear of living away from home, you know. And once you've done it, you know, you'll always feel homesick. It'll always hit you, I think. I feel homesick today. I feel very homesick today. And I think it hits you when you least expect it. But once you've overcome that fear and you know that it will go away, and as Jim Broadbent's character says in the film, it'll move on to someone else. When you're aware that you can move on and you can have a life somewhere else, it makes it easier to move to a different place. And I think that's what London gave to me, because it's a tricky place if you're not from there, even if you are from there.
Brooklyn, the script, is one of the best you've read. Are you feeling like you're seeing as many good scripts as you would like to see? Are the choices that you have to make the ones you'd like to have to make?
I mean, I haven't been reading as many scripts since Brooklyn's come out, because I'm doing a play for the first half of next year. So anything that I'm reading is, a year in advance. I'm probably not reading quite as many great scripts as I'd like to, but we're getting there.
It's getting better?
It's getting better. I think it helps that there's more female directors now. I've noticed really in the last year or so, the ratio has changed. The percentage of female directors that I've had meetings with has gone up an awful lot.
UK more or also America?
No, they're all American really, and European, from all over. So that's good, I think, because I think it'll, stories will be told in a different way. They'll be told from a different perspective. I do think so. I think with a lot of females. Oh, that's what you were making a face at. Her phone's ringing.
Such an unprofessional.
So unprofessional. But no, I think kind of just like the race issue in this world as well. It needs to be diverse, because otherwise we're not going to be able to tell different types of stories from different perspectives. So it's very important that starts to change, and I do start to see it.
And a lot more people are doing theatre as well. What inspired you to make that change?
My dad started out in theatre and loves it so much, and I think every actor that really kind of loves work gets so much out of the theatre. So I knew it was something I wanted to do eventually, but I wasn't ready to do it when I was younger. I'd been offered a couple of things when I was a bit younger, and I wasn't ready. I knew I would have been out of my depth doing it because I wasn't trained. And I can, whatever about not being trained for film, I can understand why people need to be trained for theatre. It's, it is more technical, and even Kate Blanchett was saying today in the Q&A that Charlotte was a part of that, there's certain physical directions that you're given, if you're told to go to a certain part of the stage, say, that may not necessarily help you emotionally in any way, but the audience get something from it, they benefit from it, and so there's more technicality to it physically. I know it's more demanding, so that was something I knew I'd be ready for around this age, and then the Scott Rudin is producing it, and
you can trust him.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been really amazing to me, I have to say. And he asked me to come on board, so